Arsenal had the ball. Brentford had the threat. And that difference is why this finished 1-1. What really happened? On the surface, it reads like a routine away draw in a difficult stadium. 60+% possession, an away goal, a point on the board. Move on. But that reading is too generous. For long stretches, Arsenal controlled geography, where the ball travelled, how the tempo looked, how the shape was formed. What they did not consistently control was danger. Brentford, meanwhile, were comfortable living without the ball because they were very specific about what they wanted from it. Territory, duels, second phases, chaos in the box. The first half belonged to Brentford emotionally. They didn't dominate possession, but they made Arsenal uncomfortable, pressing in bursts, forcing rushed decisions, feeding off throw-ins and set pieces. Arsenal's build-up was neat. It was rarely penetrating. The second half opened with a correction. Arsenal adjusted their creative axis, increased the speed of circulation between lines, and suddenly the wide areas became more purposeful. The goal came from that shift. Not brilliance, but clarity. A cross attacked properly. A lead earned. And then, within 10 minutes, it was gone. Not because Brentford produced a moment of magic, because they produced exactly what they had been building all night. Sustained pressure, recycled deliveries, bodies in the 6-yard box. Arsenal defended the first action. They didn't defend the second. That distinction matters. This game was about control versus stress. Arsenal wanted positional dominance, patient build-up, controlled pressing, compressed distances. Brentford wanted emotional acceleration. Quick restarts, aerial battles, back post overloads, and repeated entries into the box. In open play, Arsenal circulated well enough, but too often the ball traveled around Brentford rather than through them. There was a lot of access to the final third. There was less genuine incision. Brentford, on the other hand, were not trying to outplay Arsenal technically. They were trying to destabilize them physically and psychologically. Every long throw, every recycled cross, every late surge into the box was part of the same plan. Stretch concentration. The most telling part? When Arsenal went ahead, the game state should have tilted decisively in their favor. Instead, Brentford grew louder, more aggressive, more convinced. That tells you who was more comfortable in the chaos, not the equalizer. The real turning point was the period immediately after Arsenal scored. Championship-level teams celebrate. Title-contending teams suffocate. Arsenal did neither. They didn't kill the tempo, they didn't retain the ball with authority, and they conceded territory far too quickly. Brentford were allowed to rebuild pressure almost immediately. The equalizer was a symptom. The turning point was the inability to impose calm in the 5-minute window after going ahead. That's not tactical. That's maturity. The uncomfortable truth. Here it is, Arsenal are a very good team, but in hostile environments, they still flirt with anxiety. When the rhythm is clean, they look elite. When the match becomes messy, long throws, second balls, decisions in crowded spaces, they can look slightly reactive. Brentford didn't outplay Arsenal technically, they outplayed them emotionally. And the data beneath the game, chance quality, big moments, suggests Brentford's threat was not illusion. Arsenal's control did not translate into consistent high-value chances. Possession without harm is just decoration. For Brentford, this reinforces identity. They are not here to participate. They are here to impose discomfort on better-resourced sides. The model works. The belief grows. For Arsenal, the consequence is subtler. This is not a collapse. It's not a crisis. It's a reminder. If you're chasing a title, away games like this are not about aesthetics. They're about game management, about emotional regulation, about eliminating 5-minute lapses. One draw does not derail a campaign, but repeated patterns do. If Arsenal continue to score and then absorb rather than dictate, opponents will start believing there is always a window. And in a title race, belief spreads quickly. Arsenal left with a point. Brentford left with proof. The question is simple. When the pressure tightens in April, which version of Arsenal shows up? The team that controls the ball or the team that controls the moment?